What's going on, guys? Welcome to your second stimulus check update and stimulus package update. This is your afternoon edition. Now, I have some really good news regarding the upcoming stimulus, and I want to reveal what the new stimulus proposal has in it. If you don't know what I'm talking about a proposal that was put forth by the Problem Solvers Caucus. Now, all of the information that I'm bringing you today is provided by the New York Times, but there are still a few details that are a little fuzzy, that are unknown at this time. But this is all really good news. I wanted to bring this to you today so that you can understand the progression as we move forward. All right, so let's begin. The Problem Solvers Caucus has spent roughly 6 weeks drafting this exact bill. So this is not a fly-by-night type of proposal. This bill will cost roughly $1.5 trillion, but there are scalars that can adjust this amount. For example, if the pandemic is to worsen, the scalars would push this up to a $2 trillion package. If the pandemic gets better, it can bring it down to $1.3 trillion. So they are using these scalars to keep them within the ballpark of the numbers that they were working from. The 1.3 trillion to roughly 2.2 trillion, but they're at 1.3 to 2, but starting right around the middle at 1.5. Now, these scalars would provide an extension to unemployment benefits. Then I'll explain that in just a minute. And it says, and provide another round of stimulus checks to the American people if things worsen come January. So that means you would get a stimulus check this year, and if things got worse, you'd get an additional, a third stimulus check come January. This is something I want to really keep you updated on because, in my personal opinion, I feel a $1,200 stimulus check this far into the year, this far into the pandemic, is going to do very little. It's going to help, but it's going to do very little. A third stimulus check is almost needed at this point. So, here's also what's in it. $1,200 or more in stimulus checks for filers. We do not know what this or more means, but it doesn't mean $1,200 or more because it could be a potential of 2 stimulus checks, or are they going with a $1,200 or maybe a $1,500 or even a $2,000? Don't want to get your hopes up, but we don't know yet. However, the New York Times did not mention anything about dependents. They didn't mention the $500, but I assume it would be included. Also, it's going to be food assistance. Nancy Pelosi was very adamant, so was Chuck Schumer, that the American people need assistance to buy food. So food assistance, the amount is unknown at this time. However, it is included in the Problem Solvers Caucus proposal. Also, $25 billion for mortgage and rental assistance. This is really good because the last estimate that we got stated that the U.S. the renters are currently about $21 billion behind in back rent. There's also PPP funding. This is really good for small businesses, and it's needed now before these businesses close for good. There's also $400 million for elections, which is very important. Elections are coming up. I think this $400 million for elections is really trying to push that something happens quickly with this proposal. Also, $15 billion for the U.S. Postal Service. If you remember, Republicans were offering $10 billion, and Democrats want $25 billion. I stated earlier today and even yesterday, I believe it's going to be anywhere from 10 to 20 billion. 15 billion is a good start. Unemployment. This is a big one because most people were predicting anywhere from $300 to $400 per week. However, the Problem Solvers Caucus comes to us with $450 per week up to 8 weeks. So 2 months worth of unemployment for $450 per week. And then a possible $600 per week extension for 5 additional weeks. Again, if the pandemic worsens, this is where the scalar kicks in. This would add in more This would push the $1.5 trillion package closer to $2 trillion. So I think this is really good. This is something that's needed. This was also something that I believe it was Chuck Schumer brought up, is why don't we put scalars in so if the economy's better, then the unemployment rate goes down. If it gets worse, the unemployment goes up or stays the same. I think that's a very smart move. So this is taking exactly what Chuck Schumer stated in one of his proposals months ago and put it right into this bill. That's really good. Also, here's a big one. This is a huge win for Democrats and specifically Nancy Pelosi. $500 billion for state and local governments. If you remember, I talked about this yesterday and I talked about it again this morning, is that currently Republicans only wanted to give state and local governments $150 billion. Nancy Pelosi and Democrats were at $900 billion. $500 billion is almost right in the middle. It's a very good bill. This would really help out, and this also leaves state and local governments open for additional funding come January. So I think this is a really good package so far. So far, the liability protections inside this proposal are not included, or at least not specified by the New York Times. I say this because this is likely due to the fact that both parties could not agree on who gets the protection. Should it be the business? Should it be the workers? This is where Democrats and Republicans are in a disagreement. So we will have to see what happens from this. Also, schools. Instead of the $105 billion, and I talked about this yesterday, I was thinking it was going to be closer to probably $120 to $150 billion. The Problem Solvers Caucus comes back to us with $130 billion for school funding, which is, again, really good. I think schools need a little bit more money as schools are starting to open up. Some schools opened up and closed down again because of COVID-19 positive cases. But again, we will have to see what transpires from here. There's also $100 billion for COVID. That means for vaccines, for testing and tracing. $100 billion. Again, it's very good. Again, this is all really good news. Okay? But again, I don't want to get your hopes up because the Problem Solvers Caucus is going around our congressional leaders and releasing this proposal directly to the public first. This could make our congressional leaders very upset. We do not know how Nancy Pelosi would feel about this. We do not know what Mitch McConnell would think. However, Mark Meadows has been read in on this. He was read in before the New York Times released this. So, to my understanding, based on the reports that I have been reading, Mark Meadows is fine with it, which I'm assuming that means Republicans are fine with it as well. However, Nancy Pelosi and Chuck Schumer, those are the dark horses of this whole negotiation. So we will see what happens from there. Also, based on multiple reports, Nancy Pelosi will not pass a stimulus package prior to the upcoming election. She wants to wait until the election is over before finally striking a deal. Now, I say this because multiple reports are stating that Republicans are coming out saying she will not pass a stimulus package. She will not vote on anything because any package will look like a win for Republicans. And this close to the election, a Democrat cannot risk doing that. So, we will see what happens there. This proposed bill is currently not seen as the final proposal. Just want to be very clear. This is seen as a trigger to get negotiators back at it. Right now, this proposal puts all the legislation that was already agreed upon or talked about, and it adjusts the figures for current time. It puts all those figures into one place, which is something that Congress should have done months ago. Many people said this is what they need to do. Sit them down in a room, go line by line. Okay, you agree on stimulus checks? Good, so do we. You agree on unemployment? Good, so do we. And you just go line by line. Okay, if you agree on it, good, put it in a bill and we'll negotiate the other things. However, that is not what Congress did. So by taking what has already been agreed upon and putting it into a bill, putting it into a package, it should make negotiations go a little bit smoother and much faster. Steve Mnuchin said yesterday he is willing to meet with Nancy Pelosi at any time without conditions when she is ready to negotiate. Again, that's really good news moving forward. That's what we want to hear. We want to hear there's no conditions, let's talk. No conditions, let's negotiate. Let's come to a final agreement. That's what we want to hear. Not only that, but Nancy Pelosi said this morning that we have to stay here until we have a new bill. She is talking about breaking for the upcoming recess for the House come October 2nd. Now, with Nancy Pelosi stating this morning, I feel like Nancy Pelosi is trying to get something passed now. I don't know if that was the case a couple weeks ago or even a month ago, but now her stating this, saying that she will not dismiss the House until a new bill is passed, to me that makes it seem like, okay, we are going to risk our re-elections. We are going to risk our campaigning for an entire month prior to the election because we have not come to an agreement. We will wait and see what Mitch McConnell does. Does he kind of have the same sentiment? Is he going to hold the senators at Capitol Hill and not dismiss them? We'll have to wait and see. But as of right now, it looks like Congress is coming a little bit closer to finally reaching some stimulus deal. So I'll keep you updated as I know more. But again, as I hear more regarding the Problem Solvers Caucus plans and proposal moving forward, then I will let you know. But right now, all I can tell you is that this is being seen as really good news. Hopefully, Nancy Pelosi and Steve Mnuchin see it this way as well. So, thank you. I just want to let you know that yes, I'm going to watch this. I'm going to see exactly what's going on, and if there's any more updates, I will bring you those updates as they come out. So again, thank you for watching today's second stimulus check update and stimulus package update regarding the Problem Solvers Caucus. Do me a favor, go ahead, smash that thumbs up button if you like that I'm putting all this effort into these videos to keep you updated as soon as possible. Make sure you subscribe so that you stay updated, and I'll see you guys on the next one.